who you should live with after 70 for a longer, happier life. According to a 92-year-old wise elder, Margaret thought living alone at 73 was her badge of independence, until she collapsed in her kitchen with no one to help for 14 hours. That terrifying night changed everything. Meanwhile, across town, 92-year-old Eleanor Chen was dancing at her weekly game night surrounded by laughter and friends. What Eleanor discovered about living arrangements after 70 isn't just life-changing. It's literally life-extending. A groundbreaking Harvard study followed 700 people for 80 years and found one living situation that adds an average of 7 years to your life while dramatically improving happiness. The answer will shock you, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly who you should be living with to thrive in your golden years. Meet Eleanor Chen, our 92-year-old guide who's about to share wisdom that took her 22 years to discover. Eleanor wasn't always the vibrant, socially connected woman you're about to learn from. At 70, she was a recently retired librarian from Portland, living alone in the same house she'd called home for 30 years. Her husband had passed 2 years earlier, her 2 adult children lived across the country, and she was determined to prove she didn't need anyone. But Eleanor's story isn't unique. It's actually the story of millions of seniors who believe independence means isolation. What makes Eleanor special is that she refused to accept loneliness as the price of aging. Over the next decade, she experimented with 4 completely different living arrangements, documenting her experiences, tracking her health, and measuring her happiness levels. Today, at 92, Eleanor is healthier than she was at 80, has a richer social life than most people half her age, and has become an unofficial advisor to seniors struggling with the same decision she once faced. Her journey reveals not just what works, but why it works, and more importantly, how to figure out what will work specifically for you. Before we dive into Eleanor's discoveries, you need to understand the hidden crisis that's silently affecting millions of seniors. The loneliness epidemic isn't just about feeling sad. It's a public health emergency with devastating physical consequences. Dr. Vivek Murthy, the US Surgeon General, declared loneliness as dangerous to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes daily. For seniors, the statistics are even more alarming. Adults over 65 who live alone have a 50% higher risk of dementia, 30% increased risk of heart disease, and their immune systems age faster than those with strong social connections. Eleanor experienced this firsthand. After my husband died, I told everyone I was fine, she recalls, but my body was keeping score. Within 2 years of living alone, Eleanor developed high blood pressure, chronic insomnia, and what she now recognizes as mild depression. Her doctor visits doubled, her energy plummeted, and she found herself making excuses to avoid social activities. The isolation was subtle but devastating. Days would pass without meaningful conversation. Eleanor would talk to store clerks just to hear human voices. She'd leave the TV on for background noise, creating an illusion of company. I was living, but I wasn't alive, she admits. But here's what shocked Eleanor most. This wasn't about being antisocial or needy. Research from the University of Chicago shows that perceived social isolation triggers the same stress response as physical danger. Your body literally thinks it's under attack, flooding your system with cortisol and inflammatory markers that accelerate aging. The loneliness epidemic is particularly cruel because it's often invisible. Seniors suffering from isolation frequently maintain a facade of independence, not wanting to burden their families or admit they're struggling. Society celebrates the aging in place narrative without acknowledging that place means nothing without people. Eleanor's breaking point came during a power outage that lasted 3 days. I realized I could disappear and no one would notice for weeks, she says. That's when she made a decision that would transform her life. She would find a way to age with intention, not just in place. Have you felt this creeping loneliness in your own life? Share your experience in the comments. You're not alone in this struggle. Eleanor's first solution seemed obvious. Move in with family. Her daughter Sarah had been subtly suggesting it for months, and Eleanor's son-in-law had even converted their basement into a comfortable apartment. It felt like the natural next step, Eleanor explains. Sarah was excited to help, and I thought it would bring us closer together. The initial transition was smooth. Eleanor felt useful helping with household tasks, enjoyed regular meals with the family, and loved having her teenage granddaughter nearby. For the first few weeks, it seemed like the perfect solution. Sarah felt relieved knowing her mother was safe, and Eleanor appreciated the built-in social interaction. But within 3 months, cracks began to show. The challenges weren't dramatic, they were subtle boundary issues that accumulated over time. Eleanor felt guilty when she wanted alone time, knowing Sarah expected her to join family activities. Sarah felt responsible for her mother's happiness, creating pressure on both sides. I found myself tiptoeing around, trying not to interfere with their routines, Eleanor recalls. But I also felt like I was losing my identity, becoming Grandma instead of Eleanor. The family dynamics shifted in unexpected ways. Sarah began making decisions for Eleanor without asking, assuming she knew what was best. Eleanor's granddaughter, initially excited about her grandmother's presence, started feeling like her privacy was invaded. The breaking point came during a family disagreement about finances. Eleanor wanted to contribute to household expenses, but Sarah insisted it wasn't necessary. What should have been a generous gesture became a source of tension, with Eleanor feeling like a dependent and Sarah feeling unappreciated for her sacrifices. Research from the AARP shows that 68% of multi-generational living arrangements face similar challenges within the first year. The issues aren't about love or good intentions. They're about conflicting needs for independence, different life stages, and unclear expectations. Eleanor learned that successful multi-generational living requires careful planning, clear boundaries, and honest communication about expectations. Some families make it work beautifully, she notes, but it requires everyone to be on the same page about roles, responsibilities, and respect for each other's space. After 6 months, Eleanor made the difficult decision to move out. It wasn't a failure, she emphasizes. It was a learning experience that taught me what I needed. Independence with connection, not dependence disguised as togetherness. What's your experience with multi-generational living? Have you seen it work well in your family or community? Share your thoughts below. Eleanor's next experiment surprised everyone, including herself. Finding a senior roommate. At 71, I thought my roommate days were behind me, she laughs, but desperation leads to creativity. Through a local senior centre, Eleanor met Dorothy, a 68-year-old retired teacher, also navigating post-divorce life alone. The screening process was more thorough than Eleanor expected. They spent weeks having coffee dates, discussing everything from sleep schedules to cleaning habits, political views to personal boundaries. We created a compatibility questionnaire that would rival any dating app, Eleanor jokes. They covered practical concerns. Are you a morning person or night owl? How do you handle visitors? What are your pet peeves? Do you prefer quiet evenings or social activities? But they also dug deeper into values and lifestyle preferences. Both women valued independence but craved companionship. Dorothy was an early riser who enjoyed gardening. Eleanor was a night owl who loved reading. Rather than viewing these as incompatibilities, they saw them as complementary differences that could enrich their living situation. The arrangement worked remarkably well. They split household expenses, reducing financial stress for both. Eleanor handled dinner cooking while Dorothy managed breakfast and lunch. They maintained separate bedrooms and respected each other's space, but shared common areas for companionship when desired. Having Dorothy around eliminated the background anxiety of living alone, Eleanor explains. I wasn't worried about falling in the shower or having a medical emergency with no one to help. But I also wasn't giving up my autonomy like I had with family. The emotional benefits were unexpected. Dorothy became Eleanor's adventure buddy, encouraging her to try new activities and visit new places. They developed a rhythm of parallel living, sometimes together, sometimes apart, but always with the comfort of knowing someone cared about their well-being. The arrangement lasted 2 years until Dorothy decided to move closer to her grandchildren. Those were 2 of my happiest years, Eleanor reflects. Dorothy taught me that chosen family can be just as meaningful as blood family. Research from the National Shared Housing Resource Centre shows that senior roommate arrangements have a 78% success rate when participants go through proper screening and establish clear agreements up front. The key factors for success include compatible lifestyles, clear financial arrangements, and mutual respect for independence. Eleanor's roommate experience taught her valuable lessons about communication, compromise, and the power of intentional relationships. Living with Dorothy showed me that I could maintain my identity while sharing my space, she says. It prepared me for what came next. Would you consider a senior roommate? What qualities would be most important to you in a living companion? Let us know in the comments. Eleanor's third living experiment opened her eyes to possibilities she never knew existed. Intentional senior communities. I thought senior living meant nursing homes or retirement villages with shuffleboard, she admits. I had no idea there were communities designed specifically for people who wanted to age actively and independently. Through research and word of mouth, Eleanor discovered co-housing communities, intentional neighborhoods where residents have private homes but share common spaces and activities. She visited Sunrise Commons, a 24-unit community where residents aged 55 and up had designed their own village with shared gardens, a common house for meals and activities, and a support system built into the structure. What impressed Eleanor most was the balance of privacy and community. Each resident had their own fully equipped home, but the common house offered opportunities for daily interaction. Residents could choose to cook alone or join communal dinners. They could garden in private plots or collaborate on shared spaces. The community had systems for mutual support, from grocery shopping assistance to emergency response, without the institutional feel of traditional senior housing. It was like having the best aspects of a small town with the convenience of modern living, Eleanor explains. She participated in their week-long trial residency program, staying in a guest unit and experiencing daily life firsthand. The social structure was sophisticated. Residents were involved in decision-making through consensus processes. They organized committees for different aspects of community life: maintenance, social activities, conflict resolution, and welcoming new members. Eleanor was amazed by the level of engagement and purpose she witnessed. But co-housing wasn't Eleanor's only discovery. She also explored active adult communities, eco-villages for seniors, and even innovative programs like home share networks, where seniors with extra rooms were matched with younger people needing affordable housing in exchange for light assistance. Eleanor spent 4 months in a trial residency at Sunrise Commons. The experience was transformative, she recalls. I was part of something bigger than myself, contributing to a community while receiving support. I had purpose, friendship and security all in one place. However, Eleanor ultimately decided co-housing wasn't her permanent solution. It was almost too much community for me, she admits. I loved the concept, but I realized I needed more flexibility and less structured interaction. The experience taught her crucial lessons about her own needs and preferences. I learned that I thrive on community connection, but I also need the freedom to engage on my own terms, she says. Co-housing showed me what was possible, even if it wasn't perfect for me. Research from the Co-Housing Association shows that residents in intentional communities report higher life satisfaction, better health outcomes, and stronger social connections than their peers in traditional housing arrangements. But Eleanor's biggest revelation was still to come. The solution that would transform her understanding of what aging could look like. Eleanor's final discovery wasn't a traditional living arrangement at all. It was what she calls chosen family clustering. After years of experimenting, she realized the secret wasn't where to live, but how to create intentional relationships that provide both independence and deep connection. I stopped asking, where should I live, and started asking, how do I want to live? Eleanor explains. Her solution was revolutionary in its simplicity. She created her own supportive network by intentionally building relationships with neighbors, friends, and community members who shared her values and commitment to aging well together. Eleanor moved into a duplex in a walkable neighborhood and convinced her friend Martha to rent the other unit. But this wasn't traditional roommate living. They maintained separate homes while sharing intentional proximity. Next, Eleanor reached out to 6 other women in her area who were also living alone, and together they formed what they call the Village. The Village meets weekly for dinner, rotating hosting duties. They have a group text for daily check-ins, grocery runs and social activities. They've created informal support systems. Eleanor drives for the group since she still has good vision, Martha handles technology issues, and Susan organizes their monthly adventures. What makes this arrangement brilliant is its flexibility. Unlike family obligations or formal community rules, the Village operates on mutual choice and benefit. Members can engage as much or as little as they want, but they know support is always available. They vacation together, celebrate holidays, and provide emotional support through health challenges. We've become each other's emergency contacts, adventure buddies, and chosen family, Eleanor says. We have all the benefits of close relationships without the complications of living under the same roof. The Village has evolved over 5 years. Some members have moved away, others have joined. They've supported each other through health scares, family crises, and major life transitions. The group has become so successful that other seniors in their community have created similar networks. Eleanor's approach addresses the fundamental challenge of aging, maintaining independence while ensuring connection and support. I don't need someone to take care of me, she emphasizes. I need people who care about me and whom I care about in return. This chosen family model has scientific backing. Research from Harvard's Grant study shows that strong social connections are the most significant predictor of happiness and longevity. Eleanor's Village provides exactly what the research recommends: regular social interaction, mutual support, shared purpose, and emotional intimacy. At 92, Eleanor is healthier and happier than she was at 70. She has energy, purpose, and a rich social life. Her Village has become a model for aging that preserves dignity while ensuring no one faces life's challenges alone. What does chosen family mean to you? Share your thoughts about creating intentional relationships in the comments below. Eleanor's discoveries aren't just heartwarming stories. They're backed by decades of scientific research that proves the right living arrangement can literally extend your life. The evidence is overwhelming. Social connections are the most powerful predictor of healthy aging, even more important than genetics, diet, or exercise. The Harvard study of adult development, running for over 80 years, followed 700 participants from adolescence to old age. Their findings are clear. People with strong social relationships live longer, have better cognitive function, and experience less physical pain. Dr. Robert Waldinger, the study's current director, states that loneliness kills while relationships protect us. But here's what's crucial for seniors: the quality of relationships matters more than quantity. Eleanor's Village of 8 close friends provides more health benefits than a large family network with superficial connections. The research shows that meaningful relationships trigger the release of oxytocin, reduce cortisol levels, and boost immune function. The Blue Zones research, studying populations with the highest concentrations of centenarians, reveals that strong social networks are universal among the world's longest-lived people. In Okinawa, Japan, elderly residents form moai, chosen family groups that provide social and financial support throughout life. These intentional communities are credited with contributing to Okinawan longevity. Neuroscience research from UCLA shows that social isolation triggers the same brain responses as physical pain. Conversely, strong social connections activate the brain's reward centers, releasing dopamine and serotonin that improve mood and motivation. For seniors, this means the right living arrangement can literally rewire the brain for happiness. The research on different living arrangements aligns perfectly with Eleanor's experiences. Studies show that multi-generational living works best when there's careful planning and clear boundaries, exactly what Eleanor discovered. Co-housing communities report 40% lower healthcare costs and higher life satisfaction scores among residents. Most importantly, research from the National Institute on Aging proves that seniors who maintain strong social connections have a 50% lower risk of dementia, even when controlling for other health factors. The cognitive stimulation from regular social interaction keeps the brain active and resilient. Eleanor's chosen family model is supported by research on social capital, the networks of relationships that provide practical and emotional support. A study from the University of Michigan found that seniors with high social capital live an average of 2.5 years longer than those with weak social networks. The physiological benefits are measurable. People in strong social relationships have lower blood pressure, stronger immune systems, and faster recovery from illness. They sleep better, have more energy, and maintain better physical function as they age. Perhaps most significantly, research shows that the health benefits of social connection compound over time. Eleanor's improvement from age 70 to 92 reflects this cumulative effect. Each year of strong relationships builds on the previous years, creating exponential health benefits. The science is clear. Aging alone is dangerous, but aging with intention and connection is one of the most powerful tools for extending both lifespan and health span. Eleanor's journey from isolation to chosen family isn't just inspirational, it's a roadmap backed by decades of research. Eleanor's wisdom isn't just inspiring, it's actionable. She's developed a practical framework to help you determine your ideal living arrangement based on your unique needs, preferences, and circumstances. Here's Eleanor's 5-question assessment that will guide your decision. Question 1. What's your independence level? Rate yourself on a scale of 1, 10 for physical independence, financial independence, and emotional independence. If you scored 7+ on all three, you have more flexibility in your choices. Lower scores indicate you need arrangements with built-in support systems. Eleanor scored 886 when she created her village, which guided her toward chosen family rather than dependent living. Question 2. What's your social energy style? Are you energized by constant interaction? High social energy? Do you prefer regular but scheduled social time, moderate social energy, or do you need lots of alone time with occasional meaningful connections? Low social energy. High energy seniors thrive in co-housing communities, moderate energy fits well with chosen family models, and low energy might prefer the roommate approach or nearby family. Question 3. What are your non-negotiables? Eleanor identified 5 non-negotiables: private space, financial independence, ability to make her own decisions, regular social interaction, and emergency support. List your top 5 non-negotiables and use them to evaluate options. Multi-generational living might compromise decision-making autonomy, while living alone might lack emergency support. Question 4. What's your risk tolerance? Consider your comfort level with new situations, meeting new people, and changing established routines. Eleanor had moderate risk tolerance, which made her village experiment possible. High risk tolerance opens doors to co-housing or intentional communities, while low risk tolerance might favor family-based solutions or gradual changes. Question 5. What's your legacy vision? How do you want to spend your remaining years? Eleanor wanted to model vibrant aging and contribute to her community. This vision shaped her choices toward arrangements that kept her active and engaged. If your vision focuses on family connections, multi-generational living might align better. If it emphasizes adventure and growth, intentional communities could be ideal. Based on your answers, Eleanor recommends starting with small experiments. Don't make permanent changes immediately. Try trial periods, visit communities, or start with informal arrangements like Eleanor's village dinners. Remember, the best living arrangement is the one that honors both your need for independence and your need for connection. Eleanor's journey proves that you don't have to choose between dignity and support. You can create arrangements that provide both. Which living arrangement resonates most with you based on this assessment? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Today at 92, Eleanor Chen is living proof that the right living arrangement can transform aging from survival to thriving. Her journey from isolated widow to vibrant community leader spans 22 years and 4 different living experiments, each teaching valuable lessons about what it means to age with intention. The transformation is measurable. Eleanor's blood pressure normalized, her sleep improved, and her energy levels soared. She hasn't been hospitalized in 5 years and takes fewer medications than she did at 80. Her doctor calls her his poster child for healthy aging. But the emotional transformation is even more striking. Eleanor radiates joy and purpose. She's learned new skills, traveled to new places, and formed deeper friendships than she had in decades. Her village has become a model for other seniors, and Eleanor now mentors people navigating their own living arrangement decisions. I wasted my 70s being afraid of becoming a burden, Eleanor reflects. Now I know that the right relationships don't create burdens, they create abundance. Her chosen family provides everything she needs: daily connection, emergency support, shared adventures, and the security of knowing she's valued and loved. Eleanor's final wisdom is simple but profound. Aging isn't about finding the perfect living situation. It's about creating the relationships that make any living situation meaningful. When you surround yourself with people who choose to love and support you, you can age with dignity, purpose, and joy. At 92, Eleanor is planning her next adventure with her village, a group trip to see the Northern Lights. Why not? She laughs. Life is for living, no matter what age you are. Eleanor's story proves that your living arrangement after 70 could be the key to adding years to your life and life to your years. If this wisdom resonated with you, hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear Eleanor's message today. Subscribe for more life-changing advice from wise elders who've figured out the secrets to thriving, not just surviving in their golden years.